Well, it is that time again in Yu-Gi-Oh! While the size of the changes on the ban list this time around was rather impressive, were these changes actually significant? Well, we certainly shall see. But what should we expect theoretically going forward? First, anyone who thinks that spirals are no longer going to be a top deck, well, I respectfully disagree with you. Dropping Resort to 1 does little. Some may say that it hurts the consistency of Master Plan or the deck overall. Yeah, mathematically it does, because remember, 90% of the reason Master Plan was good was searching Resort. The additional Spiral Monster search on top of the Resort search was largely icing on the cake, not something that was super critical to making your big plays. Oh geez, I opened Spiral Resort. Now I guess I will have to scoop because my master plan will not get its search when removed from the field, is something said by no Spiral player ever. Opening the one resort is never a bad thing. Yes, resort can be popped a little easier now because you only have one, but pseudo space is a card for those who want to run it, and overall resort is not super critical to win with spirals. It's just a very, very nice combo starter. Because last time I checked, double helix still available. Tough still available. Various techs still available. And oh, right, nothing happened to Sleeper or Last Resort, the scourge of pretty much every other deck that goes against Spirals. The only way Spirals will no longer be a top deck is if people just decide, I don't think it's good without even trying to see what I can do with one resort, and I'll just abandon it, which, unfortunately enough, happens a lot. Sometimes just a small little hit on the ban list lead a number of people to think, well, this deck isn't good anymore. I'm just going to go to another deck. When in actuality, the deck is still good. The return of towers is not a smart call. Some commenters do not think this is a big deal because, according to them, there are plenty of outs to towers now. Of course, outside of lightning and kaijus, no one really mentions what all these outs are. Oh, sweet naive commenters that believe towers won't be influential. Yes, one could definitely make the argument, and I'm sure most of these commenters would, that with the emergence of link monsters, a group of monsters that do not have levels or ranks, there's now a significant number of options to get rid of towers from the field. However, take a look at all of the link monsters that currently exist in the TCG and actually count the number of generics that can out towers. Furthermore, with towers' ability to rip cards out of the hand, and so many one or two card link 4 cards being eliminated or banned, Scapegoat and Venus were really the only ones to survive, or you could luck out and get that one copy of Grinder Golem you might be running. Good luck making that link 4 to answer towers, especially before Clifforts just run you over. Hope you have that face down Scapegoat. Oh, but wait. Clifforts commonly run those cards called, wait, I'll remember. Oh, right, traps, which can easily stuff your non-kaiju type answers for towers. Finally, if anyone thinks that the prospective failure of Towers Turbo is okay, so towers won't be a problem, I doubt a lot of people will be running Towers Turbo. They're going to run Towers Control because a lot of people are heavily undervaluing Genius. Cliffort Genius is the third best Link monster in the Extreme Force set, and if Lady Lapis Lazuli were banned to address Gem Knight FTKs, it would have been the second best, ahead of Core and just behind everyone's favorite pendulum-based Link monster, Electromite. While the first and second effects of Genius are very nice, what's that third effect again? Oh, so Scout being at 1 is kind of pointless if you want to search towers? Exactly. Overall, Cliffort right now, theoretically our top 5 deck. Finally, on a side note, with towers coming back, let's just start the funeral dirge for all the boss monsters in the game now because everybody is going to be side decking kaijus and kaiju-like cards. Concerning ourselves with Pendulum Magicians, I would have preferred Astrograph getting hit over Double Iris, but what are you going to do? Anyone thinking that Pendulum Magicians are now dead is just overreacting for they still have Electromite, still have Astrograph, Wisdom Eye, Duelist Alliance, Space Pendulum Graph, Time Pendulum Graph, Wavering Eyes, Harmonizing Magician, and Cyframe Lord Omega all at their disposal. Yes, they did go after link summoning elements, but without touching Scapegoat, most of those hits outside of Grinder Golem going from 3 to 1 come off as rather pointless. Scapegoat is a much better and much more effective link catalyzing card than either Gofu, Level Eater, or Dandelion. The fact that those in the latter group can be used immediately on turn is of little consequence because Scapegoat is a one card rank 4. Overall, you're seeing the reality of the MR4 flaw of being able to use tokens in link summoning. For if tokens could not be used in link summoning, Grinder Golem and Gofu would not be on the list at all, and Dandy would probably be semi-limited, or heck, it might be unlimited by now. Those who think that Stun is back, thanks to the return of Solemn Judgment, Bottomless Trap Hole, and I'm facepalming so hard right now, Torrential Tribute, might I throw some cold water on your optimism by noting that the Bane of back row heavy deck still exists and evenly matched at 3 copies. The release of Hey Trunade also heavily hurts back row dependent decks, opening them wide open to getting OTK'd, and any stun deck going second is still almost an automatic game loss against most other competitive decks, for the most important plays for the opponent have already been made. Torrential Tribute at 3 and Solemn Judgment at 1 copy are receiving a lot of excitement and praise right now, but I feel this praise will soon change the feelings people had when Snatch Steal got unbanned, but actually started seeing play in the format. On the, let's say, 6th time somebody summons a second monster and oh, they get Torrential Tribute, their field is cleared, they don't have a backup play, and their opponent then OTKs them on the next turn. Or they're playing this crucial game swinging card, they're about to win, and oh, their opponent negates it with Solemn Judgment for only a 400 life point cost. Yeah, people think the return of Torrential Tribute and Solemn Judgment are a good thing. I don't see it, and it's difficult for me to think that I will ever see it. All right, we're getting close to wrapping it up here, but I would like to note that right now in TCG Yu-Gi-Oh, we have a format where Solemn Judgment is limited, Torrential Tribute is unlimited, Bottomless Trap Hole is unlimited, but Compulsory Evacuation Device and Book of Moon are both limited. Yes, because that makes sense. Clearly, those who make the ban list have those cards they like and those cards they don't like, and Compulsory Evacuation Device and Book of Moon clearly seem to be on that do not like list, among other things. The biggest concern I have for the coming format, in the background, ever present looming shadow of Gem Knight FTK. Because, not surprisingly, Konami did not hit Lady Lapis Lazuli because they frequently wait to see if these types of decks are going to be a problem, but unfortunately, Konami is not really that quick to act on a lot of these types of decks once it becomes a problem. And those players that have wins stolen from them by Gem Knight FTKs, they're not going to like it either way. A simple ban to Lady Lapis Lazuli could have nipped this problem in the bud. Gem Knight players still would have gotten core. They still could have kept Brilliant Fusion. They just wouldn't have these cheap FTKs. But again, Konami decided, nah, we're not interested in that. For as much as people say Konami's very anti-burn, very anti-loop, applying this characteristic seems rather inconsistent. The real question in how damaging Gem Knight FTK will be in this coming format is how many people will try to blow the format up by running the most destructive and cancerous burn OTK deck since Frog FTK. Some may argue that, oh, Gem Knights are doing nothing in the OCG, so why would they do anything in the TCG? But remember, the OCG has the entire Vrains pack at their disposal, and most of their players are busy spamming out Zephyra, Plant Link Row, and not really restricted Pendulum Magicians. We don't have that luxury. Finally, the most troubling aspect of this format that seems to be on the horizon that most are not, I guess, commenting on is I feel it will be the most coin flip based format ever. And that's saying something based on what the last two formats were like, where going first produces much more advantage than going second. Obviously, Pendulum Magician, Spirals, and Trickstar still all want to go first. But now you have Gem Knight FTK, they want to go first. Counter Fairies definitely want to go first. Any deck running Dark Law wants to go first. Any anti meta stun deck wants to go first, set up all their back row and pray for no evenly matched, etc., etc., etc. Unless you're running a deck like Yosenju or Fluffles, you pretty much want to go first. So overall, I feel that this format, as stated more than any other format, even the last two formats, your victory probability is going to be predicated by who wins the first coin toss, die roll, or whatever. Well, that is my commentary on the February 2018 Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG ban list. Thank you for your attention and your time. I'm out.